to propose the adjournment of the debate.
Thanks, Concorda.
Will you get that far? You will.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, you never know. I find it a strange bill, to be honest. I do think we have a large responsibility in here to introduce good legislation, and I think we should try and avoid bringing in legislation that doesn't really have an awful lot of substance to it. And to be honest, I actually don't find this as something that's going to be workable. And on that basis, I'm actually not very fond of it. We're after seeing a number of bills. Both myself and Deputy Daly are on the Justice Committee, and we've witnessed a few bills coming through the place that really shouldn't be coming through it, and they just don't amount. They don't amount to good legislation. I mean, one of them is obviously the Judicial Appointments Bill, and God knows I think we had 5 different sessions on it, and I think it's going to make things worse rather than better. We had a bill recently as well on sexual offences, and it actually doesn't really stack up, and there's not much rationale behind it, and there was an out left in it for judges to actually ignore it if they feel like it, which kind of renders the legislation kind of useless. So I don't really see the point of bringing in legislation like that. Now, I followed the debate when this bill was introduced, and I noticed that there's amendments to come in, and it would have been good to actually see what they are. We're talking about a bill, and the amendments could change it pretty dramatically, or maybe they won't, but I don't know, and I'd actually like to see them. I know that there was a concern that people didn't want to put people out of work because of this bill, and I'm not wanting to put anyone out of work either, but maybe I'm reading it wrong, but some of the very large organisations who engage in ticket selling, some of the real big buys are the ones who obviously employ the most people. And I mean, so what are we going to kind of jig it around in such a way that they'll be left alone and we'll just hit the smaller entities? I mean, we're either going to control the price of tickets or we're not. And to be honest with you, I'm actually not even in favour of the bill. So I'm not the one threatening anyone's job, because I don't think the bill is workable for a number of reasons. And you know what? I seriously don't like paying over the odds for a ticket. I really don't. And I can tell you, I could write a book about buying tickets. I've been to 9 World Cups, and I usually go from start to finish. And the same with European Championships. I've been at 9 European Championships. And I've been at nearly 30 Champions League finals, right? And most of the time I've gone without tickets, and I'm buying them outside the stadium. So I actually don't like getting charged over the odds. In fact, I remember I went to the Champions League final in 1992, I think it was. The game was in Wembley, right? Sampdoria were playing Barcelona. Barcelona won 1-0. A goal, 87 minutes into the match. Ronald Koeman, direct free kick. Now, I was shouting for the Italians, but anyway, it was Sampdoria's first excursion into the final. They're from Genoa. Sorry?
It's his best friend's team.
Yeah, very good. Liam Brady played there for a while. But anyway, myself and 4 other fellas, we went to the match anyway, right? And we had no tickets, right? So we had to buy tickets outside the ground. And in England, it's illegal to sell tickets outside for even cost price. Not talking about over the odds, right? So we said, God, this is going to be difficult, like, right? Well, actually, fight kind of goes on the same as it does here, right? Even though it's illegal. But the cops were around watching out, see other people buying tickets, right? And there was 5 of us there, so I was going to do the bartering, right? Even though I was probably the shyest of the 5, I was actually good at buying tickets. So you should have seen the other 4. But anyway, the tickets were 20 sterling each, right? I got 5 tickets for 30 sterling each, right? So we paid 50% more, so we paid 10 sterling above the odds, right? And I had no sooner got him into my possession, and this policeman comes over and he says, and he took him off me. Oh, Jesus, right? Wasn't impressed, I wasn't, right? There was no way I was going to get tickets again, right? First of all, we didn't have any more money. we were spending all our money on it, right? We were in a high-ace van and we were sleeping in it for the night. We parked it up about a kilometre from the stadium on a piece of grass where there was no illegal parking. But we didn't have... in fact, there's a great story about it, because we were sleeping in the van and it was May and it was a real warm night, and one of the guys... Sikh runners had just come into fashion, and one of the lads had spent a fortune on a pair of Sikh runners. Eugene White was his name, right? And we said, oh, sorry, listen.
Never mind.
I wouldn't mind this one. This one I'd be delighted to hear his name mentioned.
Never mind the manufacturers of certain.
Anyway, we insisted that all the runners would go under the van, right? Because otherwise there'd be a smell in the van, right? So anyway, your man says, I'm not throwing my runners under the van, I just bought them. And we said, yeah, come on, we're not having them in the van, that's it. Oh, there's no one throwing my runners out. So he was sleeping on his runners, right, in the van. And we were having to fucking put up with the smell of them, right? So anyway, he went to sleep. So someone grabbed his runners and threw them out the back door of the van. We had to leave the door of the van open because it was so warm. Like the back door of the highest. Anyway, in the morning, four of us had our shoes under the van.
Deputy, I'm loath to interrupt. I'm just wondering the relevance of this to the prohibition of above-cost ticketing sales.
What? Sorry? No, honestly, it's all part of the scene, right?
Oh, excellent.
Anyway, in the morning, right, our 4 pairs of shoes were under the van and they were safe. Your man's were gone. He lost his Sikhs. He had to come home in his bare feet. It was a harsh lesson. He should have done what he was told in the first place. But anyway, there's a debate still going on as to who actually threw him out. If I told you this, I'd have to kill you, so I won't tell you this. But anyway, sorry, but the policeman, when he took the tickets on me, I said, oh God, this is terrible. And I said, oh, come on. I said, come on, we're just over from Ireland for the match, and please give them back to me, please. No, it's illegal, it's illegal. So I ended up, I had to cry to get my tickets back. Oh, I cried my eyes out. So I eventually gave them back to me, right? It worked anyway, right? So he gave them back to me. But I was actually glad that it was possible to buy tickets, even if they were €10 too much. And if it had been impossible to buy tickets there, I wouldn't have gone into the game. So I was glad that there wasn't. If it was totally impossible to sell the tickets for more than 20 sterling, I wouldn't go into the match. But then, talking about inflation, right? I was at the World Cup in Mexico in '86, and I bought tickets outside the ground. And I actually got them for I went to 16 matches out there. We were staying in a hotel in the middle of Mexico City for $1 a night, and it was actually a nice place. Prices were pretty low at the time, right? And the ticket prices were about they were around £4 for the games, right, at the time. But anyway, we got tickets outside every ground right up to the quarter-final, right? And we were told, now the stadiums are pretty full. The Aztec is the one in Mexico City. Holds 114,580, all sitting down. It's the finest stadium on the planet. Amazing stadium. But anyway, we saw an advertisement. There's an English paper printed in Mexico, and they were advertising the tickets for the quarter-final, the semi, and the final. And I said, and they put up the prices at, they said, reasonable prices. Right? So we said, well, maybe we check him out. Maybe it might be hard to get him outside the ground. We're kind of getting a little bit cold feet, even though we've been successful all the way up to then. And we said, you know, maybe we go along and see what it's like. So we saw the address, right? We went along, and here was this hotel, right, with about 30 floors, right? Finest hotel in Mexico City. And we went in, and we saw all these big banners, UEFA banner, or FIFA banners, right? It was actually the FIFA hotel. And here was these touts, they were American touts. And we went in and said, where are the tickets for sale? Oh, that's room 372, right? And went up the lift anyway. Went into the room 372. Well, my God, you should have seen what tickets were in it. And they were obviously, FIFA are rotten to the core. A bad case, right? That's hardly news to anybody. But the tickets were literally been sold by members of FIFA to these touts at a profit. And they were obviously making money again on them. The stacks...
You need to be, I need to caution you again, just in the chair.
Oh, Jesus, John, you're off the street.
You've no idea.
Right, so it's a Thursday even. What's wrong with you?
All being recorded.
Relax, man.
All being recorded. We could arrange for a special session in the AV room for these stories. But anyway, I'm cautioning you in relation to throwing around loose activities.
We're all in trouble now. Mary was coming in here.
I feel a column coming on. Proceed, Deputy.
Anyway, the piles of tickets were piled that high for every section of every ground for the quarterfinals, semi-final and final. Now, that was my... Now, not that I didn't suspect that FIFA were corrupt before then, but that was the last straw. My God. And obviously, there was plenty of them lost their jobs in later years. They were exposed for being the crooks that they were. But so I can assure you, now the tickets were about, that time, they were about £4. We ended up paying about 6 or 7 for them, right? But obviously, it was a big profit at the time for them. And so I don't like paying too much for tickets, right? But having said that, I find this piece of legislation a bit ridiculous. I'll tell you why, right? If Dublin are playing Mayo in an All-Ireland football final, and they usually do, tickets are going for about, €500, sometimes maybe 1,000. And that's ridiculous, right? But you know what? There's hotel rooms in the town that are normally, would say, €80 or €100. And the weekend of the All-Ireland final, they're 500. So, if we're going to control the price of the ticket, it's not such a bad idea if you could make it happen. But are you going to control the price of the hotel room? You go down to Temple Bar, you can pay €8 for a pint. Would it be an idea to actually just put a limit on what you can charge for a pint in this town? Would that be a bad idea? Because there's...
One voice.
No, sorry?
We heard you now and you weren't that convincing, lads, so you might want to wait. Like
Through the chair.
Yeah.
Deputy Daly, please. Thank you. Thank you, Deputy. Deputy Wallace.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe you think it's okay, oh, that's the market at work. But you know what? The guy that's selling the tickets, he actually thinks that's the market at work. Now, as I said before, I hate paying above the odds for a ticket, and I generally don't. If I can't get it for a fair price, I don't go in. But I actually think there's something seriously wrong that we have actually no control. The same as we have so little control over the insurance industry today. It's not really regulated, and you pay 3 times more for driving a similar car in Ireland as you would in Italy. And the point Maureen made, if Bruce Springsteen comes to town, the price of the tickets, I can assure you, are more than double than when he plays in the San Siro. Because he plays in the football stadium in Milan, and it's usually on the European tour. And they're over double the price in Dublin. Right? Now, maybe you think that's okay as well. There's a serious extortion on the face value of tickets, as Maureen has pointed out. And maybe we should do something about that. Because, you know what? This piece of legislation isn't going to achieve what it says on the can. The guy who is selling rugby tickets for 500 each for Irish games, he's going to sell the ticket at face value, and he's going to give a lunch voucher with it, and he's going to charge through the nose for the lunch. What you can also do is you write to this company and you're looking for 2 tickets for a rugby match, a pair. And it's €1,000 a pair, even though they started at 120. So what do? You put a pen in with the tickets and post it back to them. You charge them a crazy price for the pen. And you charge them face value for the tickets. How do you handle that? Is there a way around that? See, as I started out, right, I think we should be wary of bringing in stuff that we can't make stand up. And I don't see how you're going to work this. And as I said, I'm very curious to see the government amendments, to see what impact they're going to have. And whether some people are going to be able to make money by selling on tickets, or is everybody going to be stopped from making any money from selling on tickets? Maybe someone might fill me in on that, because I don't really know. But I mean, this is a difficult area, and I mean, you know, it's actually illegal to sell drugs in this town. And if we make it illegal to charge over the face value for a ticket, do you honestly think it'll stop? Because I don't. They never sold as much whiskey in America as when they made it illegal. Sales went through the roof. It was illegal, but sales were magnificent. And I honestly think that we should, I believe in legalising the drug trade, because I think it's nuts. Sorry?
No, I was just indicating that I...
No, it's illegal to sell drugs in this town, and every Tom, Dick and Harry and dog can get them. It is the easiest thing in the world to get them, even though it's illegal. I know a young fella that got as sick as a dog last weekend. He got practically poisoned from, he bought hash and it was badly contaminated with some other substance. And he got as sick as a dog. But you know what? If we regulated the industry, charge tax on anyone selling it, importing it, legalise it, and bring it under the umbrella of the government. We sell alcohol, and I don't have any problem with it. In fact, there's hardly a day goes by but I'd have a drink. And I don't have any problem with it at all. But I don't actually, I haven't heard a good argument as to why we continue to make the sale of drugs illegal. We could actually, by regulating it, you could control the quality of it. You could stop people from selling an inferior product, a contaminated product. You could get charged, you could put a real high tax on it, a real high tax, the same as you have on cigarettes. And
I know I've interrupted you twice, I'm really sorry for that.
You're not a bit sorry.
We've reached 5:15. Okay, the time is exhausted in this debate, and I think in order to ensure the public has another bite at the cherry, you get to speak again. I'm going to call on you to move the adjournment of the debate so that we can proceed to topical issues.
I so move.
Thank you, Deputy.
And thank you for your perseverance.
My pleasure. Thank you.